Machine. I wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie, and I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday. It is Friday, Junior. Welcome, everybody. Michael Hasser, where's the YouTube crowd at? Oh, they're here. They're here. We did not have any issues today. Whitney Rose, welcome. Here to be a Chaos Gremlin briefly before I'm off to get my hairs cut. No problem. Looney Tunes, welcome. Kirkenstein's Monster, welcome. Is it? Well, allegedly. All right. Looks like everything is in order. That's cool. Yeah, allegedly. Yeah, I can see the Twitch tutors today. Yeah, and I can see everybody. I can see everybody. All right, folks, let's get started. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Folks, if you want to support the channel, there are many different ways of doing so. Keep doing what you're doing. If you're on the YouTube, keep liking the stream. Subscribe if you're on the Twitch side. Follow us here. Thank you all. Appreciate it. If you want to support the channel directly, check out the merch store and hitting the exclamation mark tip. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Also, subscribe to the Substack. Join the Discord. There is tentatively a movie event. Movie event this week. Ladybug, welcome. This Saturday, join us. Tentatively about 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be playing Schindler's List, I believe. What's the movie? Schindler's List is the one that I'm thinking. And then the next one, I think we will make Willow from the suggestions here. And then the next one, I don't know. I got a pinball tournament Saturday at 6. I had a chance to see that on the theater when it came out, but passed. I think I actually watched it in school. Pretty sure. Dude just got one of those new D&D Stern machines. Nice. Oh, I suggest a horror movie. You can. And put that to the list too. Hard Eyes. Oh. American a romantic comedy slasher. What? They put everything in there. Yeah, it's a horror rom-com. I've never seen it. I have never seen a genre like that. Why not? Put it on. I'll put it on the list. All right, folks, let's get started. Rated R for romantic. Wolfman is another one. Another horror rom-com. Gotcha. Oh, this just came out this year, right? Or is it coming out this year? No movie I haven't seen yet. It's out to rent on Prime. Gotcha. All right, let's get started. Erica, welcome. Anyone want to gift me? ADT deserves it. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, folks, let's get started.
I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir when I say this, but the state of media in this country is in pretty bad shape. I mean, you've got liberal pundits like Bill Maher, Mika Brzezinski, Joe Scarborough, Cenk Uygur, and Anna Kasparian all capitulating to fascists, basically, while conservative pundits predictably are doing pro-state propaganda that's so sycophantic it makes North Korean state TV look combative by comparison. For example, while the stock market was crashing and burning because of Donald Trump's tariffs, Fox News was trying to distract their brain-dead audience with anti-trans hysteria so that way they wouldn't think about their 401ks that they were losing. And so-called independent media is somehow even worse, because rather than avoiding the subject like good propagandists, some of them are opting for the bold strategy of trying to convince their viewers that economic destruction is actually good. For example, far-right influencer The Quivering tweeted out, "You do not need the new..."
The Quivering. You know, I forgot this guy existed. I forgot this guy existed. I'm a little annoyed that I'm reminded that he exists. Charlie Martini, welcome. You do not need a new iPad. You do not need a new cell phone. You do not need the new video game console. Which is funny because didn't this guy used to make like gaming content too? You want them. There's a big difference. And if you look at the people whining about the tariffs, I challenge you to ask them how their lives have been affected in any way. Yeah, I mean, like, they're not just tariffing like toys, man. Okay? They're not just tariffing toys, okay? Bipedal Meatbag, welcome.
New iPad. You do not need the new cell phone. You do not need the new video game console. You want them. There is a big difference, and if you look at the people whining about the tariffs, I challenge you to ask them how their lives have been affected in any way. And this is really rich coming from the guy who proudly displays his Funko Pops and extensive Magic the Gathering collection behind him. In other words, it's okay for him to spend money on frivolous bullshit because he probably makes hundreds of thousands of dollars every single year bitching about movies and video games being too woke on YouTube. But
Right.
if you're one of the peasants who has a real job and you work a 9 to 5, well, you don't have the right to complain. And you have to shut the fuck up and tighten your belt because this multimillionaire said so. The audacity of him of all people to make this argument. And to be clear, he would not be saying this if a Democratic president was crashing the economy. But since the goal is to disseminate conservative pro-Trump propaganda all the time to his reactionary audience, he knows that he's expected to toe the line no matter what to keep the gravy train rolling.
Right, like 150%. Not like we're going to be making coffee in America anytime soon. True.
And so many of these right-wing media personalities are nothing more than NPCs with no core principles or beliefs of their own. They simply say what they think their audience wants to hear to get views and clicks. For example, look at how drastically closeted homosexual conservative commentator Benny Johnson's take on the stock market changed since last year.
Losing money costs you nothing. This is just the reality of life. You're gonna, like, were you young and dumb? How much money did you lose? Everyone loses money. Everyone loses money. It costs you nothing. In fact, it builds quite a bit of character. In fact, you learn a lot of lessons, actually, by losing money. It's bloody Black Monday. Holy moly. The Kamala crash is here. Kamala needs...
I mean, like, zero freaking shame, man. It's actually incredible. Like, it is actually incredible. Like, there's a couple of these clips going around, like, not just Benny Johnson, but a couple of these, like, conservative clowns. I'm sure he's gonna show a couple of them here. There's Tim Pool. No, I'm talking about, like, in Fox News. No, I guess not. But yeah, I mean, like, it is actually, like, impressive. It is actually impressive how shameless these people are.
To get in front of a camera today. People are losing their homes today. People are losing their fortunes today. People are losing their futures today. People are losing their 401ks today. This is shaping up to be one of the worst market days in American history.
Shameless. Absolutely shameless. See, these people don't give a shit about you. They'll only invoke working class issues to attack Democrats, but they don't actually care about working class issues because all of these propagandists are not working class people. They're
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, yeah. They're not actually interested in, they're not actually interested in working class issues. That is a fallacy. They pretend to. They pretend to, but they don't care.
Multi-millionaires doing propaganda for multi-billionaires. So your pain and suffering has no impact on their daily lives, and they're only going to use it if there's something to be gained politically by talking about the issues that you experience. But in focusing on so-called independent right-wing pundits, I don't want to give you the impression that liberal media is somehow good, because while they're certainly not as bad as the conservative bootlickers in the independent space, independent liberal figures are also pretty partisan, unfortunately. These big-time liberal YouTubers who actually do score interviews with Democratic Party politicians almost never ask confrontational questions, and instead just get the politician they're interviewing to explain how bad Republicans are to the liberal audiences. Which, I mean, if you have the opportunity to speak truth to power and ask Democrats about how they're failing their own constituents, why wouldn't you do
They're
that?
not capable of feeling shame. If they did, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. True. Who's they? The conservative clowns.
That. I mean, the partisanship is just embarrassing. So in my view, independent media is a bit of a misnomer because there's really not that many truly independent people. They exist for sure, but people like me, Secular Talk, Rational National, the others, we're the minority. And as the number of good independent journalists and commentators dwindle, the bad ones are somehow getting even worse. Now, we already know that some of the biggest names in conservative media, like Dave Rubin, Benny Johnson, and Tim Pool, became unwitting mouthpieces for Russia through a deal that they struck with Tenant Media, which demonstrates that these people are nothing more than whores who apparently didn't think to question whether or not there was anything suspicious about a multi-million-dollar deal from an investor that they've never heard of named Edward Gregorian. Sounds legit. I mean, when money talks, they listen. That's what motivates these people. They don't have some broader goal for the country, no core beliefs or ideology. It's just about the cash. But in all fairness, in that situation, they were victims. Sure, they did get millions of dollars out of it that they didn't have to return, but nonetheless, they were victims who were unwittingly duped into producing propaganda for a foreign government. But they somehow reached a new low because some of those same bootlickers are now willingly doing propaganda at the behest of a different foreign government. As Jewish Insider reports, Israel's war criminal Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who is currently wanted by the International Criminal Court, held a private meeting with several podcasters, including Dave Rubin, Tim Pool, and Bethany Mandel, who wrote a book on wokeness but couldn't define it. And Tim Pool confirmed that the meeting took place on Twitter and called the discussion between him and Netanyahu, quote, interesting. Oh, was it? Interesting. That's the word that you're using? Alrighty then.
The last time you looked at a pickle, do you wish it was life-size, playing the subtle sounds of the Scottish countryside?
No.
Now, if you had the chance to meet with the modern-day equivalent of Adolf Hitler, who's currently doing a Holocaust, one would think that that would be at the top of your mind when you're formulating.
Wait, is this guy suggesting that media who push propaganda in foreign countries is unacceptable? Yes, especially if it's at the behest of like a genocidal government. Yes. I doubt they were unaware that the money was coming from Russia. That's what they say. The Associated Press? What? What are you talking about? We're not talking about the Associated Press. We're talking about Tim Pool.
Your question, but apparently not. None of these
They pushed Nazi propaganda? When? What are you talking about?
influencers reportedly asked Netanyahu about the genocide that he's currently doing. The genocide that he is wanted for by the International Criminal Court for doing, which is a hint as to why they were invited there in the first place. But according to Tim Pool, none of the other people asked meaningful questions, and really he was the only one to ask a substantive question, according to him. Now, if you read the write-up in Jewish Insider, the question that he asked was utterly useless, but according to him, they wildly misrepresented the question that he asked, and he was upset about that because people were thinking that he was a bit of a bootlicker for not challenging a war criminal. So he's going to set the record straight and explain why the question that he asked was actually better than they made it out to be. Let's listen.
I think I was the only one that asked a real question. Now that I've pissed off all the other journalists and individuals who were there, most people were asking what I would describe as, I don't know, I felt like pretty obvious questions. Is there going to be a war with Iran? Do you think the nuclear talks are going to be good? The Trump is going to be talking with you. Will it work out for you? What's the concern? What's going on with your prime ministership or whatever? And you get these answers that I really felt like you could have just got a Fox News. You know, the prime minister is going to get asked about this stuff and he's going to say, I can't speak too much on the nuclear deals, blah, blah, blah. Considering this was Chatham House and it was expected whatever he said was going to come out, I didn't see anything really substantive. However, in the story, they say, Pool expressed concerns about increased anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism in the pro-Trump podcasting space, according to sources in the room, so they weren't there. Pool famously had Kanye West on his podcast, and the rapper walked out mid-interview after Pool pushed back against anti-Semitic comments. Responding to...
Yeah, I mean, pushback is a very, 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 very charitable way of describing that interaction, because, like, I mean, like, the problem was that he had Kanye West in the first place, right? Like, that's the problem. He has, like, Nazi and Nazi adjacent people on his podcast in an uncomfortable amount of times. Sure, little Tim, sure.
The Pool, Netanyahu said that the reason he invited the group is to meet with him. To me? Pool argued that there is a Qatari op to manipulate social media algorithms to make anti-Semitic and anti-Israel episodes appear to receive far more views than, say, tips for picking up women, in order to incentivize podcasters and YouTubers to produce more anti-Semitic content. Netanyahu, however, was non-committal in his response, saying that's only possible. Fake news!
I'm out of here. Thank you so much for stopping by, Winnie Rose. Here's the totally official keys to the YouTube chat. Drive safe. ADT, watch the new Thoughts Slime. Love you. Bye. Thank you so much for stopping by. Justice for Tim's beanie. I know that thing has been through some shit.
How dare you, Tim?
Absolute fake news. It's close to reality, but this is what they do, okay? First, the person who was there clearly wasn't there. Ask somebody who then conveyed in...
Violet Quinlaw, Zionists are Nazi adjacent. I mean, yeah, they're usually very fascist.
Correctly what I actually said.
So what are we doing? Dismantling right-wing actually, like, we're displaying, I guess, really, because, like, there's nothing to dismantle because there's nothing there. But yeah, I guess we're showcasing the absolute shamelessness, right, of the right wing. It's actually fascinating.
I said there has been a report released from pro-Israel sources alleging Qatar is funding bots and operations to promote anti-Israel content. Is there any evidence that's true? And he said, I don't know. It's possible. That's what happened. I did not say they actually were doing that because I don't know that they're actually doing it. However, I did, to a variety of people, express what I've expressed on this show, that there are clearly bots that are anti-Israel and anti-Semitic. That is not to say that people who are critical of Israel don't exist or that no one is critical of Israel. People certainly are.
In other words, they basically portrayed his question correctly. It was as pathetic as the article made it out to be. You were talking, Tim, to a mass murdering war criminal wanted by the International Criminal Court, and you asked him about online bots criticizing him. Tim, you are a fucking joke. bootlicker isn't a sufficient descriptor for tools like you. It's bad enough to throw a softball question to anyone in power, because if you have access to power, you should use that opportunity to challenge power and speak truth to power. But you had the opportunity to confront a wanted war criminal who will go down as one of the most ruthless killers in human history, and you asked him about online bots, Tim. Israel has bombed hospitals and refugee camps. IDF soldiers have been on video laughing about sniping children in the heads, but bots.
You would think that Tim could afford more than one beanie. That's his one beanie. It's actually like attached to him, by the power of like dark, by the power of dark MAGA magic. Okay, that beanie is not coming off. Okay, after that one dude, took his beanie off, I think that was the genesis of Tim's journey here. If the origins of Zionism is always Nazi adjacent. Netanyahu's hiding out in Turkey.
That was what was at the top of your mind. I can't even fucking wrap my head around it. You are a spineless coward, Tim.
It's
And
a
if I were
surgically implanted beanie.
I would never be able to look myself in the mirror again after that shit show. But he goes on to make the case as to why his question actually was super tough in actuality, and we all just don't get it. And it's because, since there's possibly so much anti-Israel bots, anti-Israel sentiment is growing, particularly in the podcast space. So he was letting Netanyahu know that support for Israel will inevitably decline. And apparently,
I mean, like, the data shows it, right? Like, it turns out that, like, mindlessly just, like, massacring, who knows how many people at this point, right? Like, we're talking, like, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people. It turns out that may decrease your favorability.
him telling Netanyahu that they're losing support is his idea of confronting Netanyahu, because he told him about Israel's waning popularity. Didn't mention why their popularity was waning, which was the elephant in the room that none of them addressed. But that's apparently supposed to be a tough question, a substantive question.
Yeah, but like they're not there to like address the elephant in the room, right? Like the genocidal elephant in the room, right? That's why they're there. Specifically because they won't address that. Like that's exactly why they're there. Why do you think he picked you, Tim?
You know, according to Tim Pool, first of all, Netanyahu knows about his international reputation and the reputation of Israel, and he doesn't care. Second of all, if you're not going to communicate why Israel is losing support, i.e. ethnic cleansing, genocide, war crimes, your question is fucking useless. But without further ado, here's his defense of himself.
Israel's not going to have support from this country in 20 years. The U.S. is going to say, we've got two factions. Young people on the right who are following in the footsteps of MAGA populist movement who don't want to fund foreign wars, they vote no.
That's not a thing. Like, there's no such thing as like a MAGA populist, okay? Like, there's no such thing. There's the stuff about the Israel-Gaza? Yes. Well, not the whole video, but this particular segment, yes.
No on Israel. The far left that hates Israel, they vote no on Israel. Israel, you got no funding anymore.
Why? Why? That's the important part about this whole thing, right? Like, it's the why, okay?
That's what I see happening.
I think that's fairly obvious when you talk to any, Zoomers. They're clearly not pro-Israel. They look at the United States and say, "Look, we have our own problems here." And they look at our history of, foreign adventurism, and they're
I thought the MAGA movement was populist. Thought they were initially the Bernie Sanders supports that joined it in 15. No, that's not how that worked at all. The MAGA movement is not a populist movement. No matter how much they say it is, it's not. It's like fundamentally not. It's faux populism. It's just fascism, right? Like right-wing populism is just fascism. That's what it is. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as MAGA populism. There's no such thing as MAGA communist. It's not a thing. They're just fascist. Machiavellians can't see the problem with means as long as it's good for the ends.
like, this
As long
hasn't
as for a
worked
good
out for
end.
me personally. I can't afford this. I can't pay bills, or I can't have an.
Like the reason why like the far right is jumping on like this anti-Israel train is just because they're Nazis. Okay? Like the reason why is just because they're Nazis.
a nice place or whatever. So I think it's fairly obvious, right?
I think it comes from a lack of education on like how foreign policy actually works, and the fact that you literally cannot survive in this world without allies. 10 guys show up to beat you up. Are you going to fight them all by yourself? No, you need friends.
Phil might.
Right? What's that?
What?
I said Phil might.
Phil might. Yeah. But you see this from people in Congress too, that they just don't understand how foreign policy works. I think is really unfortunate. But the other issue to what you're talking about with like the lack of Gen Z support for Israel is there are no like pro-Israel champions that I really see. I talk about Israel a lot. I'm a raging Zionist, but I don't see a whole lot of other people who have like.
Oof. Yikes. I gotta wake up. I mean, there's not one MAGA movement. It's a dozen of sub movements. Yeah, it's made up of a bunch of like fascist factions, right? You have like different fascist factions kind of gathered together, to just kind of build this MAGA movement. MAGA movement is just Nazism repackaged. Yep. Yeah, like a coalition of different fascists, basically.
Like a firm understanding of the history and the context.
Most people can't make a cogent argument that that young people find compelling as to why we should.
Which is why on the right, it's sure Israel can do its thing, don't care. And on the left, it's down with Israel.
Nope. On the right, it's Jewish. It's anti-Jewish people, right? Like it's fundamentally anti-Semitic. It's not a formal coalition. If you took out the AI curation, it would break apart. It's a cult. I imagine there's a reason I was timed out. I'd like to know, and if you can't tell me, then your mods are abusing their powers and this community will suffer as a result. Prove me wrong, mod. Says the person that literally opened with, the AP is pushing Nazi whatever the fuck. Yeah. I don't think you would make it very far in here anyways.
It is utterly astonishing to me that they're casually able to avoid the elephant in the room and talk around the ongoing genocide as they speculate about why Israel might be losing support. Newsflash, It's not because Zoomers don't think that there's a net benefit to materially supporting Israel. It's because they see videos of children dying. It's because they see videos of brains falling out of the scalps of children online, and that has basically led to the outrage. It's not because, oh, I'm doing a cost-benefit analysis and I don't necessarily think that the return on our investment in Israel is good. No, it's because they're seeing people dying and they're having a human reaction. And it's ironic that
Found a March for Democracy in my town, April 27th. It will be my first protest attendance. Nice.
the self-proclaimed raging Zionist on the panel, Cam Higby, chalked it up to a lack of education. Actually, it's the opposite. It's pretty clear that they don't support Israel because they're educated. And his goal is to keep it that way by lying to defend Israel, because he tweeted, Israel never targets civilians. Is that so? Israel never targets civilians. Listen, Tim Pool made the choice to platform this person, who is engaging in genocide denial on his podcast with no pushback whatsoever, by the way. First of all, Israel is starving Palestinians to death with their blockade of aid to Gaza. On top of that, the Palestinian Red Crescent Society is calling for an independent international investigation into what they claim were targeted killings of first responders. Hundreds.
Wasn't the whole Israel thing caused after the British rescinded its League of Nations mandate when they pulled out of wars? Started immediately? I mean, like, there's a lot of history there, but it doesn't. I don't care. I'll be honest, I don't care. Then there's another group that think the Jewish people set Cali on fire with space lasers, no other groups that's Latino. Yeah, your Marjorie Taylor Greens. The point is, what's happening now is a genocide. That's what I care is what I'm looking at right now.
Hundreds of thousands have been killed in Gaza, many of them directly targeted by the IDF. The IDF double-tapped an aid convoy, for fuck's sake. More women and children have been killed in a single year in Gaza than any recent military conflict. On top of that, human rights groups like Amnesty International have concluded that Israel is indeed doing a genocide. The International Court of Justice ordered Israel to take steps to prevent a plausible genocide, an order that Israel has defied, by the way. And again, the ICC issued an arrest warrant for both Benjamin Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant. But the guy who says that Israel never targets civilians has the audacity to accuse everyone else of not supporting Israel because they're uneducated.
Nope. But eventually, yeah. Fuck off. Marjorie Karen Green. Like instantly proven why you were timed out and now banned. Instantly proving why you were timed out and banned. Fuck off.
Quite the contrary, asshole. We oppose Israel because we're educated. We oppose U.S. foreign policy and aid to Israel because they are complicit with Israel's genocide. But during this podcast, they speculated about why Israel doesn't have much support in the podcast sphere. And Tim Pool claimed that there weren't many defenders of Israel in the space, and that's one of the reasons. And he asked his co-host to name people, big content creators who support Israel, and then immediately they had a bunch of examples like Ben Shapiro on Destiny. But, they seemingly all agree that Israel is losing support because nobody's really making a compelling case to young people as to why our government continues to support Israel. So Cam Higby is going to try to explain why our government should continue to fund Israel's genocide, and I'm going to let you
if you starve in a room someone shut you into, it's still murder, correct?
decide whether or not you think he's persuasive.
Also, withholding human aid is like a war crime. You can't really do that as a form of warfare. That's like there's so much there's just so much stuff that the Israeli government has done that is just disgusting.
The argument for funding Israel is that almost all of the money we give Israel goes into their military. So first of all, from a capitalist perspective, the best part of that is you're taking public dollars and reinjecting them into the private sector. We don't give any money to Israel. We give money to our defense companies. They give weapons to Israel. So the primary benefit of that is, like, a really good example is in 1981, Israel battle tested F-15s for the first time ever. These F-15s had never been battle tested. They flew them in combat against Iraq. We learned our F-15s were capable of long-range bombing campaigns against Saddam Hussein's nuclear reactor. They didn't lose a single F-15 in battle against Russian MiGs at the height of the Cold War. That was great. They were the first to battle test our F-35 Lightning II.
Sure, but that's 40 years.
Like, this is so freaking disgusting, man. Like, listen to this guy talk about like how, like, this is actually good.
Ago. So what's the
F-35 Lightning IIs are today trophy systems and Abrams tanks. They were the first to test them. They were one of the first to test JDAMs. So today they're still providing us with, like, the money we give them. We are
is so
essentially just
disgusting.
an R&D program for our military.
Oh, well, shit. Why didn't you just say that from the start? If you told me that the money that we're giving to Israel is basically research and development for the military, then I would have been on board from the jump. These people are such clowns. Holy shit. Listen, I don't give a flying fuck about the military. You can cut that bitch by 75% and we'd still have one of the largest militaries in the world. And side
It's like saying only some of the deaths in Auschwitz were direct. Yeah, exactly. 1936 Germany and Spain testing equipment. Lee Spanner, welcome. We give Israel billions and billions. They can have universal health care. We do not. Yep.
note, Trump is doing the opposite. He's proposing an unprecedented $1 trillion defense budget. While people starve and they do austerity and cut social safety net programs, we have much more money for bombs, apparently. Doge isn't going to do anything about that. No auditing the Pentagon or the defense budget. Just, we have money for bombs, death and destruction, but no money to feed the poor. It's disgusting. And I'm sure that all of these anti-war independent thinkers on this podcast are going to condemn that, right? What do you even say? It's a joke. This is your independent media, folks. Not so independent, is it? But what is hilarious to me is that after rightfully getting pushback for chumming it up with a war criminal, Tim Pool posted this to Twitter to denounce people with Israel derangement syndrome, as if outrage over a literal genocide is a fucking meme to him. It's just so gross. This is a new low even for Tim Pool. You are a disgrace, Tim. Your father didn't raise you to be this way. I know, because he watches my show and not yours. Your sister is also a really good person. I've talked to her. She's incredibly kind and empathetic. So what happened to you? Were you dropped on your head as a child?
Jesus.
To where you just lost empathy? I get that it's shamelessness and greed, but I mean, your entire family is ashamed of your shamelessness. How do you not feel any bit of guilt for the propaganda that you're doing? I mean, for a second, just try to not be a propagandist or try to not toe the line and do state propaganda for Trump and just try to be a fucking human being and understand that this is the kind of shit that you are doing propaganda for, Tim Pool. Brett Wilkins of Common Dreams reports an Israeli human rights group on Monday published a report in which Israel...
All of these freaks, okay? Like, history will not look kind on all of these freaks.
Israel Defense Forces officers and soldiers who took part in the creation of a buffer zone along Gaza's border with Israel described alleged war crimes, including indiscriminate killing, as well as the wholesale deliberate destruction of civilian infrastructure in what multiple whistleblowers called a kill zone. Quote, the IDF really is fulfilling the public's wishes, which state there are no innocents in Gaza. We'll show them, one reserve warrant officer explained. People were incriminated for having
money always cleans your conscience. I mean, for those people, yeah. For those people, it's a wash. I mean, like, when history is going to look back on these people, they're going to talk about people like Tim Pool like they would Joseph Goebbels, right? Is it Joseph Goebbels? Whatever. Goebbels, the minister of propaganda of the Nazis. Like, that's how they're going to talk about people like Tim Pool in the history books, about how in the mid 21st century or whatever, the beginning of the 21st century, the Israeli government engaged in a complete and total annihilation of the Palestinian people, and people like Tim Pool and other at the time novel kind of like quasi media podcasters went around and justified this stuff and essentially sugar pilled the deaths of tens of thousands, if not hundreds. We just don't know. We just don't know how many are dead, but we can surely say a lot of people. I mean, at this point, I think that it's quite possible to say that it's in the hundreds of thousands. Yeah, the Nazis who got in, who in Germany who got away with it, never cared. Jet, welcome. Congressional Representative Keith Self quoted Goebbels in Congress. Yeah. Yep. Well, we live in Gilead now, so why not Sodom and Gomorrah? Welcome, Heat. Easily 6 figures. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. Like it's not it's not inconceivable to say that like 6 figures have easily been annihilated at this point. It's just that we just don't know, but it's not out of like the realm of reality. I'm almost certain it's in the 100K plus range. You don't count the victims. It's such a disaster. Where no one got you out, where no one got out, you count the survivors. Yeah. I mean, like, we may never know how many people were killed by Israel. We just may never know. But it's a lot. It's a lot. It is complete and total annihilation.
Bags in their hands. Guys show up with the bag, incriminated, terrorist. I believe they came to pick up Hubaiza, but boom, tank shells were fired at him from a half-mile away. In a separate interview with The Guardian, that same officer said that at first, his attitude toward invading Gaza was, I went there because they killed us, and now we're going to kill them. And I found out that we're not only killing them, we're killing their wives, their children, their cats, their dogs, they added. We're destroying their houses and pissing on their graves. Another IDF reservist officer told BTS that he was briefed that there is no civilian population in the area where Palestinians are terrorists, all of them. Asked what the area looked like after the IDF clearing operation, the officer replied, Hiroshima. Imagine doing a de facto defense for this behavior. Imagine looking the other way just so you can maintain access to the administration that's complicit with these crimes against humanity. It's despicable. And look, the same goes for liberals too. A lot of them didn't say shit when Biden was complicit with this. And don't think we're going to forget about that. You're all pathetic to me.
Yeah, and also we were the ones that were catching flack for that shit. Okay? And we were the ones catching flack for that shit. That's why part of the ceasefire couldn't go on, because they would have done a head count sooner or later. Yeah, I imagine it's going to be pretty inconvenient if they had to actually produce that data. According to the Gaza Ministry of Health, over 50 have been killed and almost 200 have been injured since October 7th of 2023. Right, but like, it's kind of hard to like really... it's kind of hard to like really say, because like the Ministry of Health is like basically like defunct, right? Like they can't, they have no, like no way of knowing They don't have like operational capacity to like be to get everybody out and counted. I mean, like it's just not feasible for them. It's very, very possible that it's much more than that. The ministry can only count bodies retrieved. Yeah, they can't. And yes, exactly. I'm just me. They can't count the people under the rubble. That's about as accurate as we can get right now. Yeah, I mean, no doubt. That's what we know for sure. Yes, that's what we know for sure. When an office block lands on people, you only get the ones who were that were pushed to the edges. Yeah, I mean, like it'll take. Who knows how long it'll take to actually get in there and do an accurate like assessment. We just I don't know. It'll be a while, but I imagine at some point, all of this is going to come to an end. And that's when the truth is going to start coming out. And I've got a feeling it's going to be very, 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 very horrific.
I mean, if you can ignore this or look the other way or try to rationalize it or justify it and chalk up diminishing support for the country doing this to bots, you're not just a bad journalist or a shitty commentator. You're a terrible fucking person. And you deserve to live with this shame for the rest of your lives. So in conclusion, independent media, like mainstream media, has mostly failed us. The same incentives that plagued mainstream media, such as access journalism and corporate sponsorships, have destroyed independent media thoroughly. So cherish the few independent outlets who are actually independent, like Secular Talk, Majority Report, Rational National, and others like myself, because we're the exception, not the norm, unfortunately.
True. We'll probably never know for sure. They will never retrieve all the bodies, unfortunately, with the mass G around the place, but they can get a head count of the survivors. Tell Mike, or a bad streamer, am I right? Yeah. True. All right, let's shift gears here, folks. It's how they counted after WW2 with Jewish people, but they had almost perfect head counts at the start of the war. Then it's just new births that might go unrecorded because most of them didn't survive. So what have people been up to keep sane? Here's what I've been doing, because I've been like molding about like video games possibly being $80 to $90. What I've been doing is figuring out ways to play games on mobile and on my phone. And honestly, it's been relatively successful and entertaining in and of itself. Also, the weed thing, yes. Gaming, nice. I'm interested in seeing the rules behind timing out viewers and reasons to ban them. Usually it depends. Like for example, the last fantastic, wonderful person that was banned by me was slur was launching slurs. It's just blocked because we have Twitch has an auto mod feature, but they were yeeted because they started hurling slurs. So yeah, just don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. I mostly play City of Heroes again these days. From the early 2000s, it's totally free. Some ex-devs set it up with some code they borrowed when the company shut down. Huh. Launching slurs, what do you mean? Do you not know what slurs are? I'm confused. If you type out a slur, you will be banned. Like, it's that simple. As is what all trolls do. Nazi isn't a slur, is it? No. Why would Nazi be a slur? I'm confused. Why would Nazi... You know what a slur is. Like, this is 2025. I have confidence that you know what a slur is. Right? Like, this isn't very difficult. I hope. Why ban that viewer for saying a slur? I'm confused. Harry may have a problem. I don't know. I'm assuming maybe they were maybe they're the troll that followed us from Twitter or from Twitch. Depends on how you use it. Can be a slur. It's like defamation, but calling a communist a Nazi could be a slur. No, I meant like slurs, like actual slurs, not like the verb slur. Type in Associated Press involvement in Nazi propaganda and check yourself. Dude, I don't give a shit. I'm not talking about you're the same freaking troll, man. You're the same freaking troll. I don't give a shit about the Associated Press. Like, yeah, man, I'm sure that like in the 1920s, okay, the Associated Press was like doing. I don't fucking care, dude. I'm not talking about the AP right now. Holy crap. He wants to... No, the bot doesn't want the smoke. Oh, I'm talking about abuse. Dude, why did you bring up the Associated Press when I'm talking about Tim Pool? Okay? Yeah, bro, I'm sure in the 1930s, okay, if we were in the 1930s talking about media back then, kowtowing to fascists, we would be saying the same thing. But currently, the Associated Press is not kowtowing to fascists at this time. We are talking about a right-wing propaganda machine that is shameless. It's a red herring or whataboutism. Oh my god, I think this is just the same freaking troll, man. I just think this is the same troll. This has got to be the same troll. Still has accept you can't get in an official U.S. government room. How is that abuse, though? If a person is being a Nazi and calling them Nazi is not abuse. No, they're complaining. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is the same freaking troll. They're complaining that their original timeout and consequently ban is tantamount to abuse. Number one, this is my chat and my stream. Number two, this is a consider yourself successful. A whataboutism and red herring to the topic at hand. And three, nobody is talking about the AP, okay? Nobody is talking about the 8P. What does that have to do with anything regarding the conversation? And then to say that that is tantamount to abuse. It is silly. Okay? Is silly. I'm sorry. Look. We've got a couple of live ones today, so yeah. Oh man, that cat pack. I honestly thought it was cat pack coming in from the Twitch one. Cat pack, who was launching slurs before I banned them. I thought it was them for a second, but nope, it's just complaining. Complaining. This AT, they really need this gotcha for their poor little... I don't even... I don't even know what the point of bringing the AP up was. I don't know. That had nothing to do with the conversation. Okay, the conversation... Like, maybe they're concerned that it's like... too much attention is being put on like people like Tim Pool, people like Benny Johnson, right? Who are operating a collective like propaganda machine to justify fascism, right? Whether it be like fascism that's happening in Israel, whether it be justifying fascism that's happening here, the end goal is the same. They're justifying fascism. And I guess that might have irked them a little more, so they're trying to desperately change the subject to the AP when the AP kowtowed to fascism to the 30s. And like, yeah, if we were in the 1930s and I would be like writing for, I don't know, what is a left-wing newspaper back then? The Vanguard. Okay. Hey, look at that. The Vanguard. voice of action. Okay, like if I was writing about like that in a left wing like a newspaper about this, then like yeah, we would be talking about like the AP and other or other media outlets that were like kowtowing to like the Hitler regime at the time. And that would make more sense. Back then, maybe the New York Times. Mother Jones. Was Mother Jones like in the 1930s? Please remember to like the stream and subscribe. True. Yeah, I'm not sure when they started, but anyways, what they were talking about is like in the 1930s, the AP had maintained access to the Nazi regime by kowtowing to the Nazi regime. In fact, like, eventually, like, after everything was said and done, the AP even removed, like, pictures and stuff like that. But yeah, like, back then, yeah, it was pretty gross. I don't understand what the point was of that whole detour.
Is totally different. There's not a single... The Trump administration is totally different. There's not a single person there you can't get on the phone and talk to.
Should being a mega donor, I mean, I guess I get your point of view, but couldn't it also just be like, no, we're not going to be biased just because a person donated money?
Former Democratic Party
1976
mega donor and billionaire Chamath Palihapitiya is bragging about how fantastic the Trump administration is because they answer the calls of billionaires. So I'm going to get to that clip and a little more because this Chamath Palihapitiya, this billionaire, is a great example of how these people operate. Because I heard this name, I saw the face, and I thought,
Bird Worldist, welcome.
Haven't I done a video on this guy before? And in fact, yes, I did. Back in 2020, during the beginning of the pandemic, I did this video, Billionaire Stuns CNBC host, quote, let them get wiped out. Where he's talking about let these hedge funds get wiped out if, you know, they go bankrupt or whatever.
Why does anybody deserve, using your word, to get wiped out from a crisis created like this? How does anybody deserve to get wiped out?
Well, but just be clear, like, who are we talking about? We're talking about a hedge fund that serves a bunch of billionaire family offices? Who cares? Let them get wiped out. Who cares? They don't get to summer in the Hamptons? Who cares?
This is the aircraft carrier shelter you seized, previously owned by a small faction of about 800 people.
What?
Basically, a message coming from a billionaire that you don't normally hear, which is why the video did so well. But since Trump has come in, there has been a noticeable shift in how Palihapitiya carries himself, where if you check his Twitter account, check his various appearances, he is praising the Trump administration quite a bit. And before these tariffs were reversed, he put this message out.
I think it's
Bozy, welcome. BCAT.
It's pretty clear. One, Trump has had a 40-year view on tariffs. They're going to go through with this and they're going to see it through. I don't think you're going to see this grand capitulation. 2.
I see where all the cool kids are at.
I don't think you're going to see this grand capitulation. He also went on to say, this is your daily reminder that we are only a few days into tariffs. There is an enormous opportunity here to write Bretton Woods 2.0, the Mar-a-Lago Accords. Time favors Trump. The longer he takes, the more he will get. Well, what was it? 3 days later, Trump reverses course on global tariffs, announces a 90-day pause. Now, his predictions may be off, but he does have some personal experience with the Trump administration and comparing them to how Obama operated. So this is a recent appearance that...
Got a few people from the Vanguard chat. Well, welcome, folks. Mouselander, welcome.
Pauly Hepatia made on Andrew Schultz podcast. And there's actually a really good question from one of the hosts later on. I'll get to that as well. But here's what he said.
This is one thing I'll tell you about the Trump administration, which is totally different. Okay, I was a lifelong Democrat, okay? I was a mega donor to the Democrats. You know, like dinner with Obama level donor, okay? I couldn't get a fucking phone call return from the White House to save my life. The only thing that happened to me was I made an off-color comment about like something in China, and I had the Biden administration like basically say something, like essentially put out a press release, basically saying I was like, you know, mean. That's all I got for millions of dollars.
That's all I got for millions of dollars.
I mean, like, that statement in and of itself kind of tells you, like, the situation we're in, folks, right? Where, like, the problem these billionaires are having is, like, look, what I want to do is buy influence. Why can't I buy government? Why was I able to buy government one time, but now, like, I'm having trouble buying government this time? End all billionaires. Agreed. This guy took something personal and totally switched sides. I mean, like, yeah, he just, I guess, you know.
All right, I'm going to get to the bulk of the clip, but I had to pause it here because there's a point that I have to make, because he makes this comment about how he made an off-color comment about, quote, something in China. And that's when the Biden administration had to release a press release about it.
Yeah,
and
like bemoaning the idea.
That's all he got for all of his money.
Like, I should be, look, if I donate, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars or $1 million or 1 penny, okay, I, the billionaire, okay, am owed. You see, like, that's the problem right there. Like, that one little comment, like, tells me everything I need to know. Dr. Jordan Peterson, my wife has some news to share. Well, go ahead, Kermit the Frog. I'm at the edge of my seat, dang it. Yeah, the real deal, the real Dr. Peterson in chat. Look at that. I'm gonna start donating to my city council member, pull up acting crazy. I mean, you might, right? Like, if you're donating, right? Like, you're owed a favor, right?
We'll get to all that point later. But he knows what he said, but he doesn't want to be specific about what he said on a more of a right-leaning podcast, because it is actually the right wing that came after him and attacked him at the time for the comments that he made concerning China, which was at the fact that he dismissed the Uyghur abuses by the Chinese government. So this was like a major headline in right-wing circles for a week at least. Fox News here, 6-figure Biden donor claims nobody cares about ongoing Uyghur genocide. Quote, the rest of us don't care. Another Fox News headline, days later, White House, DNC silent about donations from Dem donor who said nobody cares about Uyghur genocide.
Don't disappoint us, Peterson. We know you usually do, though. Yeah, I mean, what? Come on. What's going on?
This is why the administration, I was looking for the response. I didn't find it. I'm sure they responded at some point. But this is why they felt,
Peterson's just playing with chat. It's so funny if the right pretends to care about the Uyghurs while actively advocating for genocide in Gaza. Maybe they don't fundamentally have. Maybe they fundamentally don't care about like human life. So it's just like a political ploy to them, and it's just been like they care. They only care about like stuff like this when it suits them, which means that they don't care. These Dems need to do better. This is the bare minimum. Care about lives. To that, I don't. Pointing fingers at possibly the last worst ally would be Goofy. Tammy says she has made the decision to convert from cultural Christian to a religious Christian. Please join us in celebrating her faith journey.
the need to respond to this is because the right wing was attacking him over it.
Yeah, a nasty little thing called empathy.
So that's why there is a response. And National Review, another right-wing outlet here. Investors' Uyghur comments are even worse than you've heard. Now, this is my favorite.
Peterson did what? No, this is a troll. This is not. This is a troll. Okay. Look at that. A couple of subscribers on YouTube that have made it past 350.
Because you go down, and he says here, so just to be clear about his initial comments, I'm telling you a very hard, ugly truth, okay, of all the things that I care about. Yes, it is below my line, okay, of all the things that I care about, it is below my line. But ultimately, the point he was trying to make, which I think he made it poorly, there's a better way to make this point. But he said, if you're asking me, do I care about a segment of a class of people in another country? Not until we can take care of ourselves will I prioritize them over us. I understand what he's trying to say here. I think it's a bad way of saying it. But my favorite is the National Review's commentary on this. Because remember, this is the right-wing National Review saying, notice this dodge, the notion that it is a binary choice, that caring about human rights abuses abroad means we cannot care about human rights at home. How do you think the National Review has reported on Palestinians over the past couple of years? I'll give you one recent example. This is their headline. Palestinians have dehumanized themselves. Yes, the National Review cares so much about human rights abuses abroad.
Yeah, the National Review, really?
Laughable. But that's to show you, like, these sorts of turns people like this make. You know, when it benefited Polly Hapatia to be a Democrat mouthpiece, or you could argue even more of a left wing in the sense that he was criticizing hedge funds, but he's still a billionaire, let's be clear. But then now make the move to defending the Trump administration, on and on. Like, it's a wild shift, but they'll do what they can to work in this spaces that they think will benefit them. So he's now made the shift to the right. So he's going to be, not specific about what he said about China. But this goes on to the rest of the clip here.
The Trump administration is totally different. There's not a single person there you can't get on the phone and talk to. I'll give you an example of this. A friend of mine's company was really impacted with these tariffs in a bad way, okay? This is like a really amazing, legitimate American business, 150-year-old business, family-owned, all this stuff. And I was able to call the deputy chief of staff, and I said, hey, can you talk to the CEO and just so hear on the ground? He's like, instantly putting me on the phone. My wife runs a pharmaceutical business, and, we wanted to make sure that the administration understood, like, all the implications for rare diseases and orphan drugs. What happens if these tariffs cripple the R&D budgets? Because there's 30 million Americans.
All forms of driving is brainwashing by all forms of driving is brainwashing by capitalist elites who don't want us to have walkable cities. Yeah, I mean, Elon Musk comes to mind, right?
With rare,
because they got stuff to sell, man. Everything is about the almighty dollar. Everything is about the almighty dollar. You got stuff to sell, man. You know, the gravy train has to go above everything. Nothing can come between the capital class and the almighty dollars. 15-minute cities are freedom, not death. True.
Diseases. Rare diseases means it's not like diabetes or cancer. Yeah. It's like 200,000 people or less, but there's 30 million of these Americans. 2/3 are kids. And the only companies that work on such small markets are these small biotech companies.
Or maybe the health and medicine of people shouldn't be dependent on these greedy corporations. You're illustrating the problem right there. The tariffs on imports on China are now 145%. When the F did that happen? Today. Today. Now, a few hours ago, actually.
And the tariffs create a lot of uncertainty. We were able to talk to all of them.
All right, there's one more clip with that great question, and we'll see his response in a second here. But this tells you a lot, because he says here, quote, "There's not a single person there that you can't get on the phone and talk to." He forgot to add at the end of that sentence, "as a billionaire." Because if you, let's say there is a researcher into one of these rare diseases that doesn't work for one of his friend's companies, or that doesn't run the company, are they going to be able to get on the phone with the administration and talk to them? It's important to note, you know, he brings in the pharmaceutical company as sort of the way to defend what the administration does in terms of just answering calls from billionaires. But public money funds the majority of research into rare diseases and medicine, for the obvious fact that it's not all that lucrative.
Yeah, yes, Soul Life. Yep. Donald Duck, welcome. Ooh. Folks, it is starting to really thunder out there. All right, we got to get going.
Research into rare diseases. So what ends up happening is that research that is publicly funded, that, by the way, Trump administration is cutting, that is funded, is then taken by these sorts of companies, like his wife's company, I assume, and they use that research to then sell it back to the public in the form of medicine, a pill. So this is like, I'm just saying this all to say that this is not a great defense of what the administration is doing. Because
to be clear, my wife is now a religious Christian. I am still only a cultural Christian, which means I don't believe in God epistemically. I simply follow Christian values. You know what? All right, it's a good bit. All right, it's a good bit. 145%. How the F in the stock market was shit again. We are in so much trouble. There isn't enough weed to numb the pain of reality anymore. Look, it's bad. But this is like month 3, 2.5 or 3.5. I'm tired right now, but we've got to like hang tight and hang together. Because I don't want to be that guy, but it's going to be a lot worse before it gets better. Hot take: China in response to just cease to respect and enforce American intellectual property, patents, and etc. Sure, why not? I mean, like they have more leverage. They have more leverage than we do. Cosplaying is kind of weird to do in chat. Sometimes.
Because at the end of the day, they're only taking calls from people that run companies. That is not the same as taking calls from experts in whatever field that should have a conversation with the administration on whatever topic. So I also got, I'm a little surprised that he wasn't able to get Obama on the phone or someone in the administration on the phone, because Obama did the bank bailouts. It's not as if, Obama ran an administration that was, socialist in any way. So their administration, very capitalist, did a
hot take. China should send trillions of counterfeit dollars to the U.S. economy. Same difference, right? Like it's all
healthcare
fake.
plan in the Affordable Care Act that again centered private entities, private health insurance.
I mean, like just China, like just not doing anything. China just not doing anything and effectively just like looking for other trading partners is like literally like all they have to do. Oh.
Is
all right, folks, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's getting a little spicy outside. So if the power goes out, we'll just wrap it up. But yeah, let me just like power through this.
Is insane. But so yeah, I'm a little surprised that he was not able to talk to anybody there while they were in power. That said, this is not a selling feature of the Trump administration. Trump, who and the people around him trying to
inclement weather. Like I just saw the lights kind of flicker. So
pretend that this is an administration that cares about the average person, and it's going to look out for them and be their protector, yet will jump at the opportunity to take a phone call from a billionaire. Sort of at odds with that whole framing around what Trump claims he is. But I want to get to this question here, which is, I'm so glad this was asked, because this is a great question. And check out the terrible response from
Georgia.
Polly Hapatia.
You can pick up the phone and talk to these people. I've never had that experience, guys. I mean, look, I was like a senior person at Facebook, could never get a meeting. I only met Obama once when he came to the thing. Then when I was running an investment fund, successful, I had dinner with Obama, but it was, under the
good thing we still have soft power and trade dominance in Africa.
Purposes of should I donate to the foundation? I've donated millions of dollars to Democrats. I've never been to the Oval. Okay. But the minute it's like here, it's like, hey, come to the White House, explain these issues now. You get on a plane, you get over there, and they're like, explain it. And then they'll debate it. That's like, it's totally different.
Sorry, devil's advocate. Should being a mega donor, I mean, I guess I get your point of view, but couldn't it also just be like, no, we're not going to be biased just because a person donated money. We're not going to just answer the phone whenever he calls.
You think I was like, stupid 5 years ago and all of a sudden tried to like start to build national champions like now?
Yeah.
Dude, man, I've been in the grind for fucking 25 years here, paying my taxes. I fucking paid, more than most people.
Yeah. So irrespective of the donation,
I've been trying to do the right
Yeah, whatever, man.
thing.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to favor myself. It's like even just to explain, like, here's what's happening on the ground. Do you want to know?
Completely dodges the question, which is a great question. Isn't it kind of odd? Isn't it a bit biased that they will take a call only if you're a billionaire? The question isn't about did you
subscribed. It's official. Appreciate that.
Did you deserve to be a billionaire? Did you earn your right to have the money you have? That wasn't the question. The question was the average person can't get that call, a medical researcher can't get that call, but a billionaire can get that call. Isn't that a little unfair? But no, the way this billionaire and the vast majority of people in this sort of status, the way they operate is they will move with the times. I mean, you saw the inauguration, the amount of billionaires standing behind Donald Trump. They know what they're doing. So not at all surprising to see that this is the reality with the administration, that they will take a call from, any billionaire immediately. But it's good to hear the honesty, I suppose, because you don't often hear billionaires speak this openly.
Yeah, my camera
about
just
their
went out.
interactions with various administrations.
Yeah, it keeps flickering back on.
There is a castle in the middle of a forest in Colorado that has a fire-breathing dragon.
Yeah, it just like flickered on and off, and my camera just like gone. Go hide in the basement. I am in the basement. Oh, there we are. Okay. Just getting the Z in there before. It's the EMP from the nuclear ICBM. We live in Fallout now. No, I'm good. I don't want... I don't want to live an IRL playthrough of Fallout. It's bedtime for me, man. We'll see you soon. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, let's go. Sausage biscuits sounds good. I want to join the Institute. There's nothing wrong with your TV set. We'll control all you that you see in here. Yes, exactly. Okay, let's speed run this because I've got a feeling that we may not have that much time. I don't want to wait for our lives to be over. Trump must face the defamation lawsuit from Central Park 5 defendants. The president has failed to persuade a federal judge to dismiss a lawsuit accusing him of making defamatory statements about 5 black and Hispanic men who were wrongly convicted and imprisoned for the 1989 rape of a white jogger in Central Park. Philadelphia-based U.S. District Judge Wendy Beadlestone ruled on Thursday today that the men had presented enough evidence for now to pursue their lawsuit against President Trump of defaming them in comments he made during the 2024 presidential campaign. The judge narrowed the lawsuit, however, by dismissing a claim of the plaintiffs of intentional infliction of emotional distress. So that's going to happen. That's going to happen. We'll see if what comes out of that, but ground level news, welcome. So it looks like the Central Park 5 defamation lawsuit is going to go forward. So we'll see. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. No more. U.S. check to check social media as it seeks to bar non-citizens suspected of anti-Semitism. Anyone want to guess what that's going to mean? U.S. authorities will examine social media of foreigners seeking to enter the country as the Trump administration seeks to bar people it believes to have engaged in anti-Semitic activity. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that like the Nazi Party is not going to ban the actual Nazis. They just mean people protesting genocide. A chemical opium of the brain looking for purpose of tragic reality. Oh wait, it's a song. U.S. authorities will examine the social media of foreigners seeking to enter the country as the Trump administration seeks to bar people it believes have engaged in anti-Semitic activity, according to DHS. DHS will apply the scrutiny to foreign students applying for legal residency or any kind of immigration benefit as part of the plan to, quote, protect the homeland from extremists and comply with executive orders issued by President Trump, the agency said in a statement announcing the measure. There's no room for the U.S. and for the rest of the world's terrorist sympathizers, right? So, like, we actually are genuinely interested in dealing with anti-Semitism, which, you know, the call is coming from inside the house. But, oof, that was a big thunder. But yeah, they're not actually talking about dealing with legitimate, like, anti-Semitism. It's literally like anti-genocide protesters. That's what this is about. The government has an app that pulls up all your social media. It even has your OnlyFans if you have, even if you never linked it on social media. That's comforting. There's no room for the United States or the rest of the world's terrorist sympathizers. We're under no obligation to admit them or let them stay here. DHS said it would help. It would seek to keep people out who have demonstrated support for what it's called violent anti-Semitic ideologies and organizations such as Hamas. Yeah. I mean, like, sure, dude. So what they mean, okay, they're like, what they mean is people that are essentially like protesting, like the students who have been protesting, just like, you know, human rights and protesting genocide, like that. That's just like equivalent to like Hamas and Hezbollah and all this stuff. Yeah, so like that's how they're gonna play this thing. How can they unlock my phone if I turn it off? They can't. Unless you have like, keep it on passcode, not biometrics. Just keep it on passcode. The announcement raised immediate concerns, including how the U.S. would define what constitutes the support of, quote, anti-Semitic activity, whether any criticism of Israel and its conduct in the genocide in Gaza would be enough to bar someone from the country. It is. We don't have to wonder. It is. Like, there's literally people, students, having their visas revoked because of this. Like, this is not a mystery. This is literally what's happening. It also raised broader questions about free speech and civil liberties. Yeah, something that this administration really cares about. By surveilling visa and green card holders and targeting them based on nothing more than their protected expression, the administration trades America's commitment to free and open discourse for fear and silence. Yep. The Foundation of Individual Rights and Expression wrote on Twitter, unfortunately, that chill appears to be the administration's aim. 100%. The Council of American Islamic Relations accused the administration of shredding the First Amendment for the benefit of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, 100%. The spirit of Joseph McCarthy is alive and well within the Trump administration, which has spent months dishonestly mischaracterizing the legitimate concerns of the Israeli government's war crimes in Gaza as anti-Semitic. Yes. Pursuing witch hunts into American colleges and threatening free speech rights of immigrants. Yeah, I mean, like 100%, right? 100%. That's what this is about. Like, if you actually want to like talk about anti-Semitism and like dealing with that, like the call is coming from inside the house, dude. The guy had dinner with Nick Fuentes. Okay? Like, Stephen Miller is literally a white nationalist. The people that he surrounds himself with and has been adjacent to are like far-right extremists. Aiden Ross, who he receives a Tesla from. right? I don't know, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok or LinkedIn. I have a couple of those. The DHS directive comes as the administration moves to revoke visas and deport foreign students who took part in the protests of the Israeli genocide that roiled campuses last year. That includes Mahmoud Khalil, a Columbia University graduate student and green card holder who was arrested on by immigration authorities in New York City, and Rumeisa Ozturk, a doctoral student who was detained at Tufts University, who was detained near Boston. The administration has launched investigations of institutions, including the Columbia University, who have been accused of being overly tolerant of the harassment of Jewish students during the demonstration. Yeah, okay. So this is not about like actually combating anti-Semitism. This is about providing the pretense of how we can start destroying free speech. Yeah, I forgot how Trump was in a Cybertruck, so that, wow, it's all computer stuff he did at the White House was an act. Tesla. That one FBI checking my phone. What the F is totalitarian transhumanism? Oh, that's just a picture of Peter Thiel. So you want to phone with the agent? They can reference you haven't done this or that on like what crimes tend to have a burner phone. You know, it's sad that like we even have to think about that. Like if we wanted to like travel, you know, considering like burner phones because we might be like roped up by immigration for having like, you know, anti-regime sentiment. So, yeah, that's cool. That's a great timeline to live. I never go out with people and I don't invite people over. I want to be left alone to a large extent. You know, I hear that. If I turn my stuff off before I come through the border, they can't go through my shit, right? I'm not unlocking it. I don't give a fuck. They make me sit there for 6 hours. I mean, like, yeah, I don't know, like, how it works. But yeah. A burner phone for my family. Yeah, there you go. The fact that, like, you even have to think about that is kind of, like, indicative of where, like, we're at. It sounds illegal, but, like, I think there's like thanks to like Bush, I think there's like workarounds around that. If you're entering the country through like an airport, I think there's exceptions to the Fourth Amendment when it comes to stuff like this. Crazy, no probable cause. Nope. I think there is an exception to the Fourth Amendment when it comes to like stuff like this when you're entering the country because they consider it a port of entry, right? So yeah, I think that they do have technically they can. Whether or not that's good, you know, obviously it's not, but like I think they can. That's how they got that French scientist guy, and of course, you know, several other people. It's legal? Okay, there you go. Yep. I vaguely remember, like, this is just, like, vestiges of the Bush era. This is just vestiges of the Bush era. It's a convenience thing. You just get a phone that works in your locale. You can even resell it sometimes, but I've not left the country in a few years. I've never seen them do that to a U.S. citizen. It's only a matter of time. What I'm saying is, what are they going to do if I don't unlock it? Good question. I don't know. Like, will they just take your device and, like, that's it? I don't freaking know. What happens? El Salvador. Yeah, sure. They'll say you're like a gang member and that's it. Unironically, that's all they need to say. I got no tattoos. I'm chilling. That's okay. There's no evidence needed. It's not like you're going to have due process. I'm gonna get the Air Jordan tattoo soon. It's legal. There's no criminal. There's nothing criminal about having 3 phone accounts apart from financially. Yeah, no, it's not illegal to have multiple phones. Trump just got to the TSA. They're blowing the whistle on another 9/11 happening. How are they searching phones and socials? Only if you fit the description, if you catch my drift. Yeah, I don't know if that much matters these days. Yeah, that's true. They can just say, like, even if you don't have tattoos, they can just say that you're a gang member. And that's it. So, yeah. Musk has all our info anyway, more than we can imagine. True. Where's my camera? It's hiding. I don't know. There it is. Okay. It's acting weird since it got it kind of went in and out, and yeah. All right, folks. Remember how we were talking about like what's going on here, and several of you have said that this is just like a pump and dump of the market. Well, it appears to be like that's really just the case. Like this is just like another con. You know, like it's not, you know, it's not implausible that he's doing this for other reasons, but I mean, like Trump offers buy tip on social media hours before the tariff pause that made the stocks soar. Yeah, pumped and dumped. Dumps. Yeah, and he can do no crimes in the office of presidency, so why not? When Trump offered some financial advice on Wednesday morning, stocks were wavering between gains and losses, but that's about to change. This is a great time to buy. DJT, he wrote on his social media platform at 9:37 a.m. Less than 4 hours later, Trump announced a 90-day pause on all his tariffs. Stocks soared on the news, closing at up 9.5% at the end of trading. The market, measured by the S&P 500, gained back about $4 trillion, or 70% of the value that it had lost over the previous 4 days. Yeah, insider trading, but worse. I don't think the economy will ever recover from this. He's loving this control over the markets, but he better be careful, said Trump critic and former White House ethics lawyer Richard Painter. Knowing the securities law prohibits trading on the inside information or helping others to do so. The people who bought when they saw that post made a lot of money. I mean, like, that by definition, right, is insider trading. But okay. Democratic senators are calling for investigation. Did anyone buy or sell stocks at profit at the public's expense? Said Democratic Senator Adam Schiff on Blue Sky, added Democratic Senator Murphy of Connecticut on Twitter. An insider trading scandal is brewing. A key question is, was Trump already contemplating the tariff pause when he made that post? Over the last few days, I've been thinking about it, said Trump himself when he asked yesterday directly about when he arrived at his decision, but then added to the confusion, stating fairly early this morning. Asked for a clarification on timing in an email to the White House later, a spokesperson didn't answer directly but defended Trump's post as part of his job. It is the responsibility of the President of the United States to reassure the markets and Americans about their economic security in the face of nonstop media fear-mongering. But, like, it's not actually, but okay. It will get dumped some more. I agree. Bondi's on the case. And Pondo Monkey, welcome. Not to mention everyone in his personal circle. Yep. Welcome, Stephanie Hoffler. I'll keep going down over the next 2 weeks. A week or two, in my opinion. Might have a couple updates, but the place they put money like Tesla have bad forward outlooks. It's not clear if Trump, DJT was also a stock symbol for Trump Media and the technology group, the parent company of the president's social media platform, Truth Social. It's not clear if Trump was saying buy stocks in general or Trump Media in particular. The White House was asked, but he didn't address the matter. Trump includes DJT on his posts intermittently, typically to emphasize that he has personally written the message. Right, but like saying that you should buy my stock as the president, or saying that you should buy stocks in general is not good. It's either way, it's insider trading, because you know that your announcement in the next few hours are going to make the markets rise. Yeah, exactly. It was never free. Trump's 53% ownership stake in the company, now in a trust controlled by the oldest son, Don Jr., rose by $450 million on the day. Trump Media was bested, albeit by only 0.02 of a percentage point, by another Trump administration stock pick, Tesla. Nice. Wow. Yeah, I would say that is highly illegal. Last month, Trump held an extraordinary news conference outside the White House, praising the company and its cars like a dealership. That was followed by a Fox TV appearance by his Commerce Secretary urging viewers to buy the stock. Also illegal. I heard they were being investigated for insider trading. I hope so. Not that it matters, because, like, you know, laws don't apply here. But yeah, a lot of them will be trying to get back out of those positions when they do look at what they've have their money on. Oh, just 450 million. Yeah, not much, you know, just a little something. 415 million, you know. Tesla surge Wednesday added 20 billion to Musk's fortunes. Cool. Kathleen Clark, a government ethics law expert at Washington University of Law, says that Trump's Posts in other administrations would have been investigated, but it's not likely to trigger any reaction, save maybe for more true social viewers. He's sending the message that he can effectively and with impunity manipulate the market. So, like, yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. That's cool. What a cool timeline we live in. All right, folks, I got to get going. Yeah, this is the worst timeline. I got to get going. The storm looks pretty rough out there. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Talk about a bubble, though. Seriously. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. You guys are what makes this channel go. Keep spreading the word that we're here Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you. If you want to support the channel, there are many different ways. Folks, one of the best ways of doing it is lending me your eyeballs. Spread the word. Bring a friend. I appreciate that. Thank you to the YouTube crew. Thank you to the Twitch viewers. I appreciate it. No, thank you, Violet Quinlaw. Thank you. I appreciate all of you guys being here. If you want to support the channel directly, consider checking out the merch store, hitting the exclamation mark tip. This Saturday, about 6 p.m. Yes, friends, Romans, lend me your ears. Lend me your eyeballs. Lend me your ears. Okay. This stream works both. If you just listen and if you just or watch, that's perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it. It really does help. Keep liking the stream. Keep subscribing. We just made it past 350 subscribers. Thank you. This Saturday at around 6 p.m. Eastern time, we will be doing Schindler's List. So that's still tentative. I'm pretty sure it'll be it'll still happen. So join the Discord if you want to keep up with the channel. If you want to engage in the movie nights, it's entirely free. All you got to do is just join the Discord. And also, again, if you want to keep up with the channel, you get alerts, notifications, yada yada yada. So I appreciate it. Again, thank you guys. Thank you, Michael Hassler. Thank you, Heat, for modding the chat. I appreciate it. We'll be back on Monday. Thank you all. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one, Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Thank you. No, thank you guys. See ya. All right, folks, hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.